skills, 30% gained academic skills, 24% gained soft skills, 9% gained 21st century skills, and 3% gained technical skills. TIC led to better student performance and improved educators' classroom delivery. So learners learn better, educators teach better as a result of TIC. Learners learn better, educators teach better because of TIC and its impact. TIC is applicable in schools, in workplace, in businesses, and in communities. Yes, you can apply TIC. We have our alumni have passed from a lot of places. Some of our respondents are educators, some of them are professionals, some of them are entrepreneurs, owners of businesses. And they all reported that as a result of TIC, they can now perform better in their professions. TIC builds capacity of beneficiaries to start or scale businesses, lead to increased income, enhance business value. Okay.
Sorry for the break in transmission. So I was supposed to acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Mary Ido and Mr. Musa Daniel. They are both from ITF. My busybody, like I'll say, made me to jump. Please, if you're here, stand up for recognition and let us appreciate them. And I hope you would find a space in your heart to forgive me for not doing the needful on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're highly welcome. CIC builds capacity and beneficiaries beneficiaries to start and scale business, lead to increased income, enhance business value, and career change in others. Capacity development. Our alumni reported 26% capacity development, 60% change of mindset, 30% better learning outcomes in classrooms for students, 16% increased business knowledge and skills, 7% increased business value, 3% created alternative source of income. So for those who have one income, like we say among ourselves, I don't know, you just don't need one source of income anymore. You need multiple sources of income, and TIC delivers on that as well. So our learners learned how to create multiple sources of income. I will end here, if we can, the key recommendations and actions for public, private, and non-profit players. Key recommendations and actions for public, private, and non-profit players. And that's, let me quickly just remind us that in the file given to us, there's a pledge form. Given all the TIC already delivers on and Tongston promises to deliver on, please let's kindly, for also data purposes, fill those forms and let us have it. Key recommendations again: primary and secondary tertiary institutions and learning and development centers to enroll teachers, management staffs onto TIC. TEC as part of continuous professional learning and development, thereby producing entrepreneurial educators to achieve better learning outcomes and employability and entrepreneurship capabilities for their students. If you've not heard anything I have said, one thing that is very important is that Tongston teaches anyone at all who wants to listen and hear, how to create value, influence, and be profitable. You need that. I don't know, but I will take it as we all need that. We all need to know how to create value, how to become profitable, and how to be influential. Okay. Public sectors or government institutions with primary mandate to develop capacity of and regulate teachers' continuous professional development should enable TIC or TEC as part of their competence management and training and development of educators and supervisors of educations and training programs. So you could, if you have the opportunity or perhaps work in a center where you are responsible for teachers or educators training or even staff training, you could employ TIC for capacity development of your staff or your educators. Public sector government institutions with the primary mandate to drive education, labor, and productivity and support youth and women to enroll teachers in public schools, women and youth with a preview. So probably on TIC or TEC for academic development and academic performance and improvement. Universities and College of Education and Teacher Training Institution to integrate TIC as a mandatory or elective course for all student training to be teachers for professional improvement and development. I want to say that if you can, please enroll yourself. Start with yourself. Um, um, I should run now. Thank you. Okay. Just two more. I just have two more. Public and private non-profit institutions across all industries to integrate TIC or TEC as part of continuous professional learning and development or training programs for staff as professionals to ensure professional development for all staff and enhance performance in terms of staff KPIs with institutions' mandate. And finally, entrepreneurs across all industries to pursue TIC or TEC as part of learning and development for business performance and improvement. Sorry, performance improvement and development. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, I'm not hearing enough from here. Oh yeah, one more time for him. Okay, so there's one thing I want to say to his presentation. He's trying to tell you about one of our products. It's not just a product. I can tell you categorically that I underwent this product, and it's actually one of the best experiences of my life, but we'll get back to that later. The real reason why I can call myself confidently an entrepreneurial MC was because I went through this system, and it would do you a great deal of, it would be a great privilege for you if you try to partake in this training and this product that he just advertised to you. One more time, please, a round of applause for him. That's Promise Apollari. He's our research and economic officer from Tongston. We are not doing well with him. Please, let's appreciate him. Yes. Let's do well by him. He really tried. Don't worry, I have your award ready somewhere too. All right, so moving on, our next presentation is going to be on building partnerships with international development organizations for sustainability, social economic development. And this presentation is supposed to be by Mr. Peter Edo, the Director of Development Education, Fort Spring Consulting, but he's being ably represented by Dr. Philip Hayab. Please, let's appreciate him as he steps forward to make his presentation. We can do better, please. We can do better. We just have our lunch. We shouldn't be too tired to appreciate our speakers. Thank you for coming, sir.
Maybe let me start by saying good afternoon to you, distinguished participants and guests. I've been given a very, can I call it difficult task? Edo had actually planned to come to Abuja. So he sent me a message that he was going to be in Abuja yesterday and we will have dinner. So I didn't get to call him because I was wondering maybe he was in transit from Zaria, only for him to call me at about 9 p.m. or 8. So he was just leaving Zaria. That was not even a good time to leave Zaria for Kaduna, talk much more of Abuja. So he gave me the task of this talk. Yes, so if I had known that the program was going to start in the morning, I would have come. Anyways, I have listened to speakers, and I'm happy that I'll be speaking, and then I will lay emphasis on my work as education development support service deliverer. So let me talk about these issues, and I'm going to do that very quickly. International development organizations or agencies, as you would find in the books hereafter, ADEs, have contributed immensely to the improvement of the quality of life in society, and nowadays they've actually become indispensable part of Nigeria's national development in many facets. Some of the key areas of their service delivery would include, but not limited to, education, media, business, finance, accounting, treasury, legal policy, regulatory agencies, governance, data, technology, research, economics, business development, and strategy. Now, but this is the issue. Despite the many years of inestimable, many years of service delivery by these bodies, Nigeria's poorest and the most vulnerable communities have continued to face enormous challenges. Accordingly, the work of the international partners in Nigeria needs to continue to address issues in current context aimed at transforming the essential role of international development in nation building and the way that support any kind of service that is delivered by donor agencies. I attended university, earned a degree, and went to learn, or maybe attended another diploma to be a teacher. But I never became a good teacher until I came in contact with international development partners. I was trained uh, after my degree by a particular group, and I began to see that the focus on theory was one of our major problems. Yeah, but that does not mean that Nigeria's educational system was not doing well. After my degree at ABU Zaria, I've seen one Abu Said. Is that correct? I was more than sure that I had some stints somewhere. I attended the University of Ghana. I went to Birmingham in England. I went to South Africa, and I can say that we have a good educational system. It was my encounter with the international development partners that I began to understand certain nitty-gritties about teaching, particularly of the English language which I teach, and how to make it simpler instead of disturbing people about independent clause, dependent clause, and people hardly ever get to understand what these are until they finish school and maybe die. What we can do is to make a way that a child will be able to have indices that make them recognize that an independent clause will be like this, and then it will be different from this. So it becomes more practical than theoretical. Now, international development organizations and national development. Um, these international development partners are made up of community of problem solvers. They provide resolutions to everyday's life challenge. They combine experience in human resource management and the use of technology to deliver sustained outcomes and build trust between projects and the communities that they operate. Now, the notion of national development is also another encompassing expression because it talks about development that is sustainable. Now, if there is development, it must be a development or a program that is aimed to improve all aspects of the national partners, certain spheres of Nigeria's private and public life, like education, health, justice, democracy, and governance, amongst others, could have collapsed completely. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I've done teacher development work in Sokoto State. I've done teacher development work in Bauchi, and I'm from Kaduna State. I've done teacher development work in Oyo. I've done teacher development work in some parts of Nigeria. And you would find graduates, some of them even PhD holders in education, that cannot even determine what was previous knowledge from previous lesson. And it's very easy if you are taken through by these international development partners, because a previous lesson is just a lesson that was taught maybe yesterday. Well, previous knowledge was supposed to be that which the child must have learned, maybe not even in school. But how have we allowed this over the years for people to earn a degree and leave the university without actually affirming this? Now, in the air, almost every lecturer has their own definition of a previous knowledge and a previous lesson. And because learners were just struggling to pass exams, they will pick whichever one that the teacher requires just for them to pass the exams. And once they leave, they are actually in the field of practice, they will not be able to distinguish which one is which. Now, so this is a problem, but teacher development, that development partners have brought teaching or training that can actually bring teachers up to date. The above point also explains why at such a summit like this, we need to talk about how Nigeria needs to leverage on the activities of international development partners to facilitate building trust across a wide range of areas of human needs that are key to the survival of a sane society and to deliver sustainable possible. Just to go to Kaduna here, I need maybe, if I needed one prayer before, I need like 10 or 15. Now, since our life is being disrupted, our progress too is going to be disrupted. Remember, the teachers who go to teach in schools are affected by the insecurity. Learners themselves are affected by insecurity. But in the nation, I'm not sure whether the people who are in the helms of affairs actually understand what to do about this. Rather, you see it is international development partners that are looking for ways to educate people on how to overcome these challenges. And then the government that we've elected, that is ours, doesn't seem to bother. So if you are taken by these guys who take people and then God helps you, you come back home alive, there is no any program that we have designed to say, okay, we're going to rehabilitate. If there is any form of rehabilitation at all, it's likely to come from an international donor agency, which shouldn't be the case in the 21st century. Consequently, international development partners' approach exemplifies that they are a community of problem solvers that are assembled in a remarkable way to deliver outcomes for organizations, clients, stakeholders, and communities, making a positive and lasting impact across the spectrum of society. Now, from my work, as I've talked about, it was possible to build trust by delivering lasting impacts by implementing effective programs that touch on the needs and yearnings of the benefiting communities. From last year to yesterday, June 31st, I was the program manager for a peace project that was funded by USAID in Bokos local government of Plateau State and some 3 local governments in Kaduna State. And I saw the difference of our approach and their approach. Because we already have a budget, this is what we are going to get, we'll get this monies. And when we tell these people we're working with that we are coming to you, we will give you this, we have the money. But as I'm talking, I'm not here to talk about secrets also. I actually led a 3,000 teachers training in English proficiency in Kaduna State, which was funded by the British Council. Now, everything was available. If we say we're meeting at Hotel 17, the meeting will be the day we had agreed, the meeting will hold. Now, after we had completed that training, the Kaduna State government felt, oh, this was a good project. Can we scale it up to 6,000? Yes, the approval has been given. 2 months now, the money has not been out. Do you see what is happening? Everybody is, interest. This call. I said, but you cannot tell people that there's going to be training next week, and next week comes, there's no training. So our lack of, to be able to build confidence and trust, we have to be trustworthy. Just imagine the participants that are here that Tongston had invited you to come for this program, and you arrive and the gate of the venue, the door of the venue was closed. Next time, when they ask you, the chances that you will come was what? Very, very slim. Now, there is another formula by the international development partners. That is, their aim is to deliver courageous ideas and solutions which are human-driven with the aid of technology for meaningful transformation, since the solutions delivered are often real-life approaches. Now, that's where you're talking about entrepreneurship. One of the other ways that I found, because I listened to the definition, now maybe I'll have another definition that will make it simpler. That is, an entrepreneur is a person who sees opportunity in a challenge. Every entrepreneur idea comes from a blockage. If there is no trouble somewhere, there is no way you'll be entrepreneurial about it. For instance, in my village, there are, let's say, 100 people who use telephones, but getting recharge card was very difficult. What am I supposed to do as an entrepreneur? To start the business of what? Selling recharge cards. Then I have to check the environment. Can they buy that of 500? Can they buy that of 100? Now, those are the skills that the entrepreneurial person should look at. Don't go and start selling 1,000. If they can, we say only 1,000. In the village, there are so many people who cannot buy even 500 naira recharge card. Talk much more of 1,000. Now, without doubt, whether we like it or not, during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, we can see that there is a call for international development partners to refocus their attention, as there is a sense of urgency about positively responding to current challenges by building trust and delivering sustained programs that are valuable to the target beneficiaries. When this, vaccination started in Nigeria, many people didn't want to take it. Why? There was no trust, there was no confidence. If the vaccine was going to come from UNDP or maybe from UN, the chances were that people would be more open to taking them. So if we already understand this, that it means that development partners are helping to cover the gap, but we shouldn't expect them to continue to be here forever. Now, key areas of service delivery, this will be and then I'll take my seat. The development partners are working in the education sector. As I was seated there, I exchanged pleasantries with some people. We met as a result of a World Bank-led project supporting quality assurance of the education subsector in Borno State, 2019 to 2020. Now, we did this work, 2 weeks training here. I went to Borno. I discovered that some of these people were just interested in going to Abuja. But as far as they were concerned, the implementation of that project was none of their business. So if we're talking about partnership, are we really committed? Because partners mean I am doing something, someone is doing something. The World Bank should not sponsor a project for you, bring you to Abuja, stay 2 weeks, you go back to Borno, which is your own place, and you're not interested whether the project succeeds or not. Another training of such In fact, some of the participants were just 2 weeks away from retirement. How do you bring such a person to training? What training? Is it training for how they are going to live their lives after retirement, or for something that needs to be continued? So these are critical issues that we should look at. So education is observed as a vital instrument for the development of humanity. Thus, at every point in time in history, education is one of the indispensable pillars that hold humankind together, leading nations towards definitive success. Simply put, education is the way of acquiring morals, norms, values, manners, developing skills and knowledge to live a productive life. Sadly, despite the dynamic role of education in society, there are communities in Nigeria whose access to quality education is not only inadequate, but is awful due to the failure of government and other barriers. Some of these barriers may be us or the teachers. However, international development organizations such as the British Council, USAID, UNICEF, UNDP, and other partners focus on supporting teachers' continuous professional development. I had the last speaker talked about this for broader learning outcomes for learners in and out of schools, especially in public schools in Nigeria. In 2019 to 2020, we implemented a program called Girls for Girls Reading Hub in Sapoto, Bauchi, Kebbi, and Niger states. Why? The study showed that a record of the girls in this locality actually leave secondary school most times before they finish JSS 3 or after JSS 3. That is if they struggle to get to the JSS. Because at that time they are considered ripe for marriage. Now they barely can read and then they've gone to marry. When would they take education seriously? So the project was organized in such a way that they are supported to be able to read so that literacy materials can reach them in the homes. Now, many might not see it as useful, but if they have literacy, they have literacy. Even healthcare education can be sent to, they will read it at home. They'll be able to know how to take care of their children. And you will bear me witness that an educated woman definitely knows how to take care of her children more than an ignorant woman. Except a careless educated person. And we are not supposed to have such kind of people. One of the rationales for the falling standard of education in Nigeria is that most teachers do not have the opportunity for further training after school. A situation that is often blamed on the paucity of funds allocated for staff training and development. Accordingly, records of teachers who acquire professional development, building their capacity to deliver enhanced teaching, receive such training from international development organizations, revealing the significant contribution that these groups make to the development of education, of the education subsector in the nation. Now, international partners have helped us in the public sector management. They've organized training for staff or civil service servants, and also this training has actually pushed for civil service reform, tax administration reform, and attitude to work. There was this time, if you go to an office, nobody will talk to you. You might be there for an hour, 2 hours, nobody cares. And then the issue of Servicom came. But you need to be reminded that the issue of Servicom was not home. In as much as it was implemented here, it was pushed by international development partners. That if you go to a place and you are not treated fairly, you can complain. Now, if you believe that, try and go and complain. Some of the banks that are like civil, there's some of the banks that are so strong, they are like ministry of something. But banks that are struggling to work well, if you go and you complain, even the manager will come down to listen to what you're saying. Why were they doing that? They were doing that because it is the number of customers that they have that will make the bank to either survive or not. I read something yesterday, I don't know how true, that one of the banks wants to acquire Union Bank. Now, how Union Bank, as a child, Union Bank, big, strong, reliable, I don't know the other advertisements, but I cannot forget this. We watch it from 4 p.m. NTA, and then it's going to be acquired. Why do you think it's going to be acquired? Something has to do with work ethics. So when you look at what international development is doing, international development partners are doing in Nigeria, the way their work has been effective is because once they employ you, they will pay you well, but then you must work. Unfortunately, you're not paid well here, so nobody has the, guts, the energy to tell you to work. Now, sustainability and climate change. Despite the threat posed by climate change globally, the Nigerian government does not appear to have taken the matter as seriously as the international development partners. It is often the development partners that deploy a lot of manpower and resources in creating awareness about the impending danger caused by climate change and natural resources, assisting in planning and strategy to combat the growing challenge. Isn't it funny that somebody will come from somewhere to tell you how to run your home? Governance, resulting from the reality that Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious nation with diverse groups and languages. Violence, which often stirred by ethno-religious differences leading to wanton destruction of lives, aside from the rising tension that it causes in this country. It is the international development partners such as the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and allied bodies that run programs which focus on conflict mitigation and reconciliation, trying to restore social engagement for religious unity and rebuilding a culture of peace between factions, involving credible local community actors in the process. Now, I have worked on a project like this in 4 local governments. We succeeded in 3. Because some of the people whom you find in these places where you say, oh, cattle went into this home, into this farm, oh, somebody attacked a Fulani, they have not been given an opportunity for any engagement. People just see people in the street. It is very easy to disagree with somebody that you don't know. But if you know someone, even if your head is bringing out smoke, when you are talking and they say, one year somebody asks you, look, who was? Once you know someone, it reduces the tension. So how would people come from somewhere to tell us how to engage in dialogue? Were we not engaging in dialogue before? We were, but somehow we lost our values and we are being reminded by these international development bodies. The last, healthcare delivery. In an online newspaper article which I read, the writer highlights some of the immense contributions by local and international organizations that he claims were making, I quote, real impact in the health sector in Nigeria. From my knowledge of the health sector in Nigeria and the reading of the report, I can attest that the success is based on the resolve that these international organizations have to follow technical and professional standards. How many of you have visited hospitals lately in Nigeria? Some of the hospitals that you see on TV about some of our communities, in fact, the hospitals are good enough to kill somebody before the person is admitted. But if there is any health facility operated by international development partners, even if it is one single room, you go there, you see humanity. So something is wrong with us. Something is wrong with us. Accordingly, international organizations treat their clients, colleagues, and people in the communities where they work with utmost professionalism. They admit where they fell short or they fall short, they own up and solve the problem to get it right next time, not for eye service. Because here we can do it for eye service. Okay, I apologize. But then you don't actually mean it. Over there, anything can escalate. We did a project and one Nigerian was trying to push for his money. It wasn't paid. He was able to use Twitter. So he went on the international account of the international body, global account, Twitter account of that body. He wrote one line to say, I've worked for these people, I've not been paid. It was escalation of issues. Those people had not called me since we finished the work. That day they gave me a call. That is, that's the way we work here. We don't value people until there is a problem. It's not supposed to be like that. Simply tell him, sir, we're sorry, we're still processing your payment. Just give us some time. But just shutting out the person, they blocked him. And the guy decided to use another method to get this thing to the top. Now, globally, they are in the know that this organization working in Nigeria and the people carrying out the everyday work are Nigerians. Do not treat their fellow Nigerians with the kind of respect that they deserve. I think that is dismal. In conclusion, I have noted some of the giant strides international development partners are making. But there is a huge concern about the sustainability of international organizations working in Nigeria. The key is that Nigeria's development plans need to move from where it is to meeting the needs of its populace the leading priority of governance. The other issue is that a sustainable national development plan must pay attention to improving school enrollment, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria where I come from, and the delivery of quality education, the kind of education that we got in the village. I attended primary school in the village, so don't think that I don't come from any well-to-do home. But I could read in primary 3. I went to public secondary school. I went to a public university. And today in my area of research, I can compete with anybody from anywhere. And I'm not an old man, I'm just 47. It means that we had a time where education in this country was something that you could take to the bank. In my class, during my master's program at the University of Ghana, everybody came out first class, second class upper. With my area, I came with second class lower. Yes, 2-2 now, the normal degree they allow us to go, particularly from my faculty of arts, FAS. No, they say A was for God and B was for the other people. But in the class that I attended, classes, I took courses at the Department of English and I took courses at the Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana, which is the premier university of Ghana. And they are doing well. I'm telling you, if any of my colleagues was going to make a presentation, a seminar, they will come and meet me at the door and say, Philip, don't ask me any question. I'm telling you, we had the capacity that they were like, one day my professor said to me, but how did you come out with a second class lower? If you have this vast knowledge, if she brings this book, I'll say I've read it. You should bring this, because in Abio's area at that time, it was you either study it or you are gone. How could we have had something that was working? Instead of making progress, we are compromising it. That we have core members in Nigeria now that cannot sing the national anthem. At least, I don't know whether it is just jokes. We have core members that cannot spell something. We have core members, excuse me, to just put on that shirt, you'd call, it should be something. It means national pride. Is that what we want for our country? Is that how we think the country is going to move? So our national development plan must go beyond just, we are budgeting 3 trillion or 30. No, it should be about human capacity development. We must support seamless healthcare delivery to every nook and cranny and making it right without cutting corners, because this is one of the problems. Some of us, even as teachers, were not qualified to catch any student in exam malpractice, because during our times we were exam malpractice people. Yes, it's a fact. So I don't know where we're heading to, but this is where the problem is. As Nigeria's we should make it right as Nigeria's what? National character. Until then, the heights of what the international development partners have reached, one day it may evaporate. May it never evaporate in our time. But this is the fact that we are not making the kind of progress. Somebody talked about the educational system here not supporting you to be entrepreneurial. You have an engineer who cannot fix their own cars. Engineers who can't fix their cars, they take it to a mechanic who can't read and write. Right? Engineers wearing a big shirt to the office. All these are actually abnormals. They are misnomers. They are not supposed to happen. And I wrote something on my Facebook. That's the last word I'm going to say and go and sit down. That why the elections in Nigeria are being looked upon from different polars. Those in the diaspora, they see things different from us. Have you read 10 comments by Nigerians who live abroad? You read 10 comments by Nigerians who live here. The people here will be talking about, maybe I'm a Christian, maybe I'm a Northern Nigerian. See, it does not matter. Any good thing has come out of the dent of hard work. Every Nigerian living abroad has enjoyed the fruits of what? Of good governance. But here, no good governance. So if the president is Christian and does not perform, when the whole problem happens, it will affect both Christians and Muslims. If the president is Muslim, all of us will be in it. And may it not repeat it. I think it is hard.
Before you go, we need the speech and the presentation is uplifting, to say the least. Yes, quickly, before we sue you. And we'll sue you in American courts. All right, please, a round of applause for him one more time. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Up next, we'll still present one more award to him because he is speaking on behalf of someone, and we need to present the award of that of Mr. Peter Edo. Yes. Okay, so as soon as it's done, please pass that one too so that he can represent accordingly. Mr. Peter Edo is the Director of Development Education, Fort Spring Consulting, and ably represented by Dr. Philip Hayab, who just delivered a superb presentation. One more time, let us appreciate him. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, we have something that is called a fireside chat. And this is going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. If you are leaving, you are missing something amazing. Trust me. I'm going to pack my seat here, cross my leg, and be ready to shoot some questions when the time arrives. So they will be talking on the remaining the world of work for millennials and beyond. The critical role of policymakers, development, and private sector in shaping the future of work and youth preparedness. The panelists are Mr. Abdulmalik Badamasiu. He's the Deputy Director, Bureau of Public Enterprise. Please, if you are here, stand up and let us appreciate him. This is the moment I have been personally waiting for. And please, let's appreciate him. Fatima? Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Somebody special will be joining him on the stage. And that person is none other than the CEO of Tongston Entrepreneurial Holdings. He's the able engineer, Bello Tongston. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time for me to call the able moderator, the person that is going to moderate this discourse. She is a special person, and she's very intelligent and intellectual. If your hands are not too busy, please let us appreciate Shalom Baje. Please, we can do better. We can do better. We can do better. She is the manager, corporate service skills, outside school foundation. Am I right, ma'am? Please let us appreciate her one more time.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Engineer Bello. Good afternoon, Mr. Dumali. How are you doing?
Brilliant.
Awesome. So let's go straight to the agenda for this discussion. So towards the end of this panel, we are going to have a question and answer session. So let's reserve our questions for that time. So I'll start with my two panelists here who are both corporate world people. So I'm sure in your organizations there are people, there are millennials in your organization. So what has been your experience with working with millennials? What are the highlights of working with them? What are the gaps you observed as well? So I'll start with you, sir. CEO Tongston.
Okay. I normally define amongst, in Tongston's culture, I normally say Tongston is a young organization. So what that means is that it's filled with millennials and also Gen Zs. I am a millennial also, but also many of the team members, they are Gen Zs. What I've noticed as the biggest challenge or the what's different working with Gen Zs is first they have attention is very important to them, basically. And what I mean by that is that anything that will consume so much of their time, like documents to really read. Basically, if you have a 5-page document that you need them to read, it's best you give them in like quick 1 page, because the attention that they give to that document for, not to read it for the 5-page document for that will take maybe 10 minutes, they will want to do it in 1 minute, basically. So this is the biggest thing that I've seen that is really different when working with Gen Zs. The other thing also is that I think, or maybe let me use their own 9 to 5 may not. It's just your tasks that drives during the week. It's just what's really Gen Zs.
Sir,
has always been the problem in academia and workplace, theory and practice. My own definition of truth, just let me go beyond that word millennium, is a millennium truth. We are living in an age of millennium, 2000 now. The truth is grandson. Beyond this truth is, we have to define it in the workplace. What is your vision and mission in Tongston? That is your KPI. What is your vision going to school? Is it to obtain a bachelor, master's, doctorate, or whatever? When you set up your goal, you identify the truth. When you identify the truth, define the truth. And my own simple definition about truth from learning and to where is fidelity to reality. You can go to Oxford, you can go to Harvard, you can't get a better definition than this. Fidelity to reality. What is reality? Reality is what is it? Not what it ought to be or what it will be or what it has been. When you don't have a fidelity to reality, the workplace, the work span, they can never get it right. They can never grow to where you want them to go to. The reality is what is possible. What is it? Today I'm here now. This is what is called truth. This is what is called reality. If somebody, either policeman or maybe my family, say they saw me at so time, at this very time, this very day somewhere, that is untruth. This is what is called reality. Whether God, whether Christianity, whether work, it is identified